Hi, this is Rory live from the London studio. Pakistan and Afghanistan have reached an agreement on an immediate ceasefire following high-level negotiations in Doha, signalling a rare moment of diplomatic calm after weeks of deadly border clashes. The agreement announced by Defence Minister Khawaja Asif on Sunday comes amid heightened tensions along the Pak-Afghan frontier and increasing concerns over cross-border militant attacks. Led by Defence Minister Khawaja Asif, a high-level Pakistani delegation travelled to Doha on Saturday for discussions with senior Afghan Taliban officials. The 13-hour talks, facilitated by Qatar and supported by Turkey, aimed to end hostilities and establish a framework to address Pakistan's security concerns. Both sides pledged to respect each other's sovereignty and agreed to meet again in Istanbul on October the 25th in Istanbul for follow-up discussions on implementation mechanisms. Announcing the development on X, the Defence Minister said, "A ceasefire agreement has been finalised. Terrorist attacks from Afghanistan on Pakistan's soil will cease immediately. Both neighbouring countries will respect each other's territory." He expressed gratitude to Qatar and Turkey for mediating the dialogue and facilitating the breakthrough. Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar hailed the agreement as a step in the right direction, adding that Pakistan hoped to develop a concrete and verifiable monitoring mechanism in Istanbul to ensure action against terrorist groups operating from Afghan soil. "It is important to put all efforts in place to prevent further loss of lives," Dar noted. On the Afghan side, Taliban spokesperson Zabihullah Mujahid confirmed the conclusion of the talks, describing them as constructive. In a statement, he said both sides had reaffirmed their commitment to peace and mutual respect, agreeing that neither country will undertake or support any hostile actions against the other. On the Afghan side, Taliban spokesperson Zabihullah Mujahid confirmed the conclusion of the talks, describing them as constructive. In a statement, he said both sides had reaffirmed their commitment to peace and mutual respect, agreeing that neither country will undertake or support any hostile action. The statement further noted that both countries would refrain from targeting each other's security forces, civilians, or critical infrastructure, and would resolve disputes through dialogue. According to the agreement, a permanent mechanism will be established, with the assistance of intermediary countries, to review complaints and ensure effective implementation of the ceasefire. The breakthrough comes after days of fierce cross-border clashes. On the 11th of October, Afghan forces launched an unprovoked assault on Pakistani border posts, triggering a series of retaliatory strikes by Pakistan that targeted terrorist hideouts and militant training centres in Kandahar and Kabul. The violence left 23 Pakistani soldiers martyred and over 200 Taliban and affiliated militants dead. According to ISPR, Pakistan maintained that its response was directed solely at militant elements responsible for orchestrating attacks from Afghan territory. Islamabad has consistently urged Kabul to take verifiable action against terrorist entities, particularly the outlawed TTP and HGB, operating from Afghan soil. The Doha ceasefire follows a temporary 48-hour truce earlier last week, which was extended twice to allow for negotiations. During that time, Pakistan carried out precision strikes on militant strongholds in Afghanistan's Paktika and coast provinces, targeting camps linked to the Gur-Bahadur faction responsible for attacks in North Waziristan. Despite repeated assurances from Kabul, Pakistan's security establishment remains wary. Relations between the two neighbours have deteriorated sharply since 2023 as cross-border attacks by TTP militants surged following the group's withdrawal. With the ceasefire now in effect, Islamabad hopes the agreement will mark the beginning of a more structured and verifiable security framework, one that curbs the movement of terrorist factions and restores stability along the volatile border. However, the real test lies in implementation and whether the Taliban leadership takes decisive, sustained action against militants threatening Pakistan's security. Stay tuned for more updates on this story. Keep watching Ocean News.